welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us.
A lot of Shapiros in town this
For
week.
whatever reason, my co-host and Chris Wynn in studio are giving me flack because both my parents and my sister in town. I don't know why that's weird. I mean, I haven't seen my sister in like a couple of years. I haven't seen my parents in.
We're giving him all the Joe Flacco he can
I
handle.
don't
It's
understand.
not
why-
necessarily weird. It's just we were aware that the folks were in town, right? Mom and Dad were in town. I just found out that the sister was in town, though. It was
Why
kind
is
of,
that weird?
It
I don't
It
understand
seemed a little
it.
bit strange that you didn't mention the other sibling.
All right.
I don't think it's weird, Brian.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 257-5396. We got to get to some of these stories, including the helmet issue with Antonio Brown. But before we get to that, why don't we take a few calls? Again, the GCI Guys hotline is 257-5396. Let's go ahead and go to L. L, what's going on? Thanks for calling in.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Let me just say something quickly about the time slot you left. That slot is going to die, and it's going to die soon because the person doing it is looking for too much shock value. I just think it's not so much what he says as how he says it, and that you could say goodbye to that slot soon. But my call was about the two Congress people in Israel.
Interesting, Al.
Okay, I don't know a lot about the two-state solution. In fact, I know very little. But we've got these young women, again, coming in, making themselves the story. They're giving ammunition to the right because I think the people who sponsored it are terrorists or whatever the case is. But we have, again, where they're coming in, making themselves the story. I wish they would go away, not back to their countries, but just go away because I just see problems with both of them.
I agree.
And
They're
it's too much
doing
about
no
them
favors.
instead of the country.
Can we just go back to
And
that 6 to 8 p.m. time? No, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You both.
Hey, Johnny,
Brian,
soundbite that, okay?
Well, here, look. Here's the deal, though. With respect to both Omar and to Tlaib, they are elected congresswomen, okay, from districts in Michigan and Minnesota, and look, their constituents will vote them out if they are not representative of their district, right? They're not doing the job that those people want them to do. They're going to be out.
But
I mean, there's a lot of people with opinions outside of their districts, that are addressing
And see, here's the
whether or not
difference,
they are legitimate congresswomen. They are. They were legitimately elected by their constituents.
No one's ever saying that they weren't.
Okay.
But
And they've had- and by
20
the way-
years ago, what they said wouldn't make any difference. But they're
Right.
overstepping their constituents,
I
and they're
agree.
leveraging Twitter, and they're calling out people, and they're making aggressive, over-the-top statements, just like AOC is doing, just like Trump has done.
I agree.
And they're doing the Democratic Party no favors right now, and they're starting to define the Democratic Party in a negative way.
Here's the problem. I think they're trying to take advantage of their celebrityness. I think
Absolutely
they
are.
enjoy being all over the news.
They love attention.
I think they like that, and that should not be the job of a politician.
Yeah, but let's be fair also. They also have targets on their back, okay? There are people on the right. There are Republicans, okay?
Part
and
of it is their fault.
There's one that is the
And I would
president of the
agree.
United States that
They've
has
put those targets
absolutely
on their
taken
own
shots
backs.
at them.
I'll tell you what.
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Al, what do you-
I think they've also had,
Yeah.
there are people that have said things about them that is not true.
Go ahead,
And,
Al.
yeah.
Go-
My problem is these are the only people we know as far as the freshman congressmen. We have how many other Congress people we don't know anything about them?
Oh, you're right.
I would
We
agree
don't
with
know
that.
their names.
Yeah.
These people are going to hurt our chances for because they're making them the face of the party, and
Exactly.
that is very dangerous.
No,
And that's
I would
what-
disagree.
and
with that. I
that's
would
what
disagree.
Trump
Look,
wants
there
to
are,
do.
There are Republicans.
He is isolating them by
I
calling
would
them out.
disagree. I disagree with that. There are Republicans that are making them the face. They are exactly what they
And
are.
the president.
They,
And the
yeah, and the
The pres-
president.
the
so
president
yeah, so you're
is
making my
making-
point
is
for me.
making
You're
them
saying
the
the
face.
Republicans. Yeah, the president. They are 4 freshman congresswomen. Okay, they do not have the power of Nancy Pelosi. They do not have the power of Chuck Schumer in Washington D.C. Yes, as Brian pointed out, they do have a social media, and JD pointed out, they do have a social media presence. That's very large. Okay,
But
especially with
what they're
AOC.
doing is forcing Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to either defend them or defect from them, and that's dangerous. They're making themselves an issue, and it's a problem for me, and I think it's a problem for those who are looking to the 2020 election. I want them to shut up. And I know you may like them, and they are Congress people. Shut up. The time has come
I
to
don't disagree with you,
And
Al.
I'll tell you.
By the way,
Go, guys.
Yeah,
thank
great
you,
call.
Al.
Thank
you,
Appreciate
Al.
it.
I'll tell you who does want them to shut up is Donald Trump, and that's why they won't.
Yeah, Donald
That's
Trump.
true.
Donald Trump should shut up on Twitter. As far as
But
I'm
I will say this: the 4 of those women, the squad, have
Yeah.
about 8 million followers on Twitter. Combined.
Absolutely, and they have that presence
Nancy
is
Pelosi.
huge.
Nancy Pelosi. Well, she only has 2.8.
Yeah. Well, listen.
So those four together actually have more power than she does via social media, which is a huge deal in today's day.
More Twitter followers.
I don't think
it translates.
I want to move on, but I don't think I'll say this. I don't think Talib and Omar are very intelligent people. I'm not going to go as far as to say the other two, including Cortez. I'm not going to say they're not intelligent. But I don't think Omar and Talib, if they were intelligent people, they wouldn't say some of the things they have said in the past. Okay, so let's move on here. I want to talk a little bit about this issue with Antonio Brown. It's obviously it's been a huge story in regards to his helmet issue. He wants to wear a specific helmet that has not been approved by the NFL. The Oakland Raiders, I will say this, they have backed him for the last 6 to 8 weeks. They have been with him, but it seems like it is coming to a halt and it's coming to a forefront of, hey, listen, either play or don't. Either you're in or not. So I want to play this sound from you. It's Mike Mayock, who is the general manager of the Oakland Raiders, in regards to this issue with Antonio Brown.
So here's the bottom line. He's upset about the helmet issue. We have supported that. We appreciate that. Okay, but at this point, we've pretty much exhausted all avenues of relief. So from our perspective, it's time for him to be all in or all out.
All right. What's your response to that?
I love that. Here's why. I think that Antonio Brown at this point, if he has an emotional attachment or some superstition, fine, whatever. These helmets are made so he doesn't get CTE. They're made to protect him. At this point, I almost wonder if he's questioning his own ability. If he's not confident in himself, if he's still this wrapped up in his helmet, he's getting paid $17 million a year right now. He's been one of the best wide receivers in football for 5 years. What is it? I mean, just play the game. There's nothing else to talk about. It's very simple.
Well, here's the way I look at it: is Mike Mayock, obviously the general manager, he's looking out for the best interest of the organization, right, going forward. This is it's an overall perspective for him. And then obviously Antonio Brown, that's not his approach. Okay, his approach is he has feelings regarding the helmets. Okay, and by the way, this is also an extension of the injuries that he suffered with the cryotherapy with his feet. Now he's coming from that to the helmet stuff. It's called drama. And it's not something you want with a player, with a big time player that's coming into your organization, and you're about to embark on the final season in Oakland, right, before you move to Las Vegas. It's not something that I think is beneficial to the organization. So I think that's what Mike Mayock is addressing as far as the overall team concept of it. With respect to Antonio Brown, at the end of the day, we all understand what this is. In my opinion, it is he wants to avoid the daily grind of training camp. Okay, so it's an opportunity for him not to be involved in that type of thing. Yet still, he feels that I don't doubt for 1 second, Brian, that this guy is not going to be on the field week 1 for the Oakland Raiders. So I think this is kind of a drama thing for Antonio Brown from his aspect. And look, we understand what John Gruden and what Mike Mayock, their thought process on this is. It's about the team, right? It's about moving forward as a team, and we need to have you on board. And so that's why they're thinking that way.
I want to ask you another question because you've been watching Hard Knocks, as have I. It seems like the Raiders organization, they're making it out to be that they're going to be contending for a Super Bowl this year. We love where this thing is going. We got this. First of all, they were horrible last year. I understand they're in a better position this year. I don't see this team even coming close to contending this year.
Well, here's the thing about that. There's been numerous teams in the NFL that have gone from worst to first, okay? And that's kind of like the perception that they want to put out there.
I don't see Carr as that guy.
Well, no, here's the thing, though. The narrative that the Raiders are putting forth, and it has been a focus of Hard Knocks and John Gruden and Mike Mayock, is yes, we want to be a contender in the AFC, okay? Does that mean that they expect themselves to be in the Super Bowl? I don't necessarily believe, that. I think they're realistic. I think they understand, the whole dynamic of the AFC and that they're not going to be one of those favorites. But I think, yes, with the glass half full perspective, I think they want to be a team that in the final year in Oakland, it's a swan song. It's a farewell tour, basically, and you want to go out on a high note. So the way that they're approaching it is, we want to be that team, that is going to make a run and that's going to be a major player when it comes to the AFC West, and then when it comes to the playoff time, and then once you get into the postseason, hey, anything can happen. That's what they want, everybody out there in Raider Nation to believe, and I get it, and they should want it that way because it's the final year in Oakland, and you want to end it on a high note. So I think that's the approach. Now, Brian, you're making an analysis, and I think a lot of people are. That take a step back, that aren't Raider fans, right? That have no allegiance to the organization, and making an observation. I think that's very accurate when you say that, look, it wasn't a good team last year. So what's just because they add certain players, whether it's a Jacobs at the running back position, whether it's Antonio Brown, one of the best wide receivers in the league, and whether or not Derek Carr makes that step to being a better quarterback and being more productive, then you can maybe see some things happening. But there's no question that their expectations are higher for this season than they were for a year ago.
Yeah, again, this is why they play the games, right? I do enjoy Hard Knocks. We're going to have to wait and see how this thing goes, but I think that the first winning year that they're going to have will be when they come to Vegas next year in the last several years. That's what I think is going to happen.
They have no advantage to win games in Oakland, and the city of Oakland actually sued them last year for leaving. So they have no allegiance or loyalty to them as well, and I think that they would prefer to have a top 10 or 15 pick. I'm guessing they go 6-10. With injuries, they could go 4-12, and I don't think they carry the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Carr is that guy that's going to bring you to the promised land. That's just my opinion. But again, we'll have to wait and see how this season goes. The Raiders are going to be officially our team next year. The stadium about halfway through. I think that is fair to say. And it's looking really good. Right off the 15 there in Russell, you see it as clear as day. It's fantastic. And then right across the 15, you see the T-Mobile Arena. We're going to talk a little bit about a team that plays in the T-Mobile Arena when we come back. It is the Vegas Golden Knights. Tickets have officially went on sale this morning, about an hour and 45 minutes ago. They went on sale at 10 a.m. So what are ticket sales going to be like this year? What are some of the biggest games on the schedule? We'll get to that and much, much more when we come back. Chris Wayne in studio. I am Mr. Brian Shapiro. By the way, check out my Twitter page. I just opened up my own personal Twitter page. It's I'm Brian Shapiro. JD was going to open it up for me. He started out being face for radio. I said, no, I'm not a fan of that one. I'm Brian Shapiro.
It was a joke. I was clearly joking.
Yes.
And you can expect in the next coming days, JD, that a flood of followers to the I Am Brian Shapiro Twitter page for the next numerous days.
Exactly. All right, we'll take a quick break. Be back, but after this, you're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.
Hey, I'm Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench. I used to hit dingers and throw lasers when I was a Major League Baseball player. Now I do yard work, raise my boys, and get the occasional 18 holes in, but I still have to deal with that Hall of Fame pain. I use Blue Emu pain relief products. The Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis or Continuous Spray are easy to use. I just spray or rub it on. No stinging or burning. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
A checkerboard has 64 spaces. If the first space had one checker, the second space doubled it to 2 checkers, the third space doubled it to 4 checkers, and so on. By the 36th space, you would have a stack of checkers that could reach the moon. The 64th space would reach another solar system.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be.
Sean Hannity, only on 101.5 FM, 720 AM.
Every time you rely on government to take care of what you think is a need, every single time you are giving up liberty, you are giving up freedom, and you are handing power over to people that want you dependent. And you've got to understand, that freedom goes away very quickly.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, the talk of Las Vegas.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. By the way, quick reminder, tomorrow on the show, we are going to have Mr. X. Well, who is Mr. X? He is a Hollywood conservative producer, a longtime producer there in Hollywood, made a lot of movies, does not want to give his real name, but he is a supporter of Donald Trump, and he's going to talk to us next week a little bit about the dealings, stuff that he has to deal with in liberal Hollywood, and he's afraid to even share his opinions in fear of losing his job.
Mr.
So it's
X.
he'll be joining us tomorrow. That will be quite interesting.
It's always a nice breath of fresh air with Mr. X. That was very dyslexic.
Nice breath of fresh air. I like that.
Very dyslexic.
3 hours of radio.
Total accident.
So we got some great guests lined up for later in the week. Also, this is going to be a lot of fun. The guys from Human Nature are going to be joining us in studio on Friday. Going to be giving away some tickets. That's going to be a lot of fun. The cast of WOW will be joining us as well. So great guests lined up here the remainder of the week, and we're going to try to get Tony Sanchez to come on this week as well, UNLV head football coach. As I mentioned, the college football season is right around the corner. This could be a make-or-break season, certainly for his job. So we will continue to talk about that as we preview UNLV football, which is right around the corner. But as I mentioned earlier, the team right across the way from where the Raiders are going to be playing is T-Mobile Arena. What a beautiful arena. Las Vegas Golden Knights are going to be entering into their third year. And boy, the way the season ended last year in the playoffs was just the worst possible way you could ever end a season. It was horrendous against the Sharks. But tickets, we bring up the Knights because season tickets have just opened up for sale 10 a.m. this morning. So I ask you, Chris Wynn.
Yes.
A lot of interesting games on the schedule. Besides, obviously, opening night is a big one. But name me some of those feature games that you expect to be 100% sold out.
Yeah, so with single game tickets going on sale, not season tickets, but single game tickets, it's going to be interesting because, of course, they open the season on October 2nd when they take on those San Jose Sharks, who they faced in the playoffs. And they also play the Sharks, by the way, 2 days later
so guess
in
what?
San Jose.
October 2nd is my birthday.
Is it really?
Oh, I'll be turning 34 years young on October 2. 2019.
So it is a monster-focused day in the city of Las Vegas, given JD's birthday and also the Golden Knights.
That's got to be sold out right now. It's got to be sold out.
Absolutely. I'm sure it already is something that's signed, sealed, and delivered as far as Knights fans there.
That's going to be a fun game.
There are going to be a couple of 7-game homestands during the season, and the defending Stanley Cup champions, by the way, the St. Louis Blues, will be featured on that first 7-game homestand in late December. So they're going to have matchups against the Ducks, the Flyers, the Blues, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and of course the Kings and also the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they'll have their longest road trip of the season with Vegas. Will start in mid January. So they play the Golden Knights. They play a Pacific Division slate against their rivals in their division, where they play 5 games against Arizona at home. They play they'll play 3 games at the T-Mobile Arena against the Coyotes, and then 2 games in Arizona, and then they play 4 times each in the division. So they'll have 2 games at home against all the Flames, the Oilers, the Ducks, the Kings, the Sharks, and the Canucks. So a lot of opportunities for the Golden Knights fans out there to get out there and see this team, and it's going to be intriguing to say the least, given they're going into their 3rd season, Brian and JD. And this is a team that was in the Stanley Cup final in year 1, last year made the playoffs, and has high expectations this year as far as the postseason and a possibility of making a Stanley Cup run. So it's going to be fun, to say the least, to get out there and see the matchups with the Golden Knights.
Do you wonder what would have happened if, hypothetically, year 1 Vegas Golden Knights, if they don't make the Stanley Cup Finals? Let's just say, hypothetically, they don't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They're a below 500 team, which I think a lot of people expected in year 1 with this franchise. What would have happened with season tickets? What would have happened with sellout crowds? Do you think that the crowds would have been anywhere close to where they are now? Because I say that, and I don't want to compare college basketball and UNLV basketball or UNLV football to a professional franchise, but I guess I'm going to here. The UNLV football program has been horrible for the last 20 years. The attendance has been atrocious, considering the amount of people you can fit in Sam Boyd Stadium. Same thing with basketball, particularly ever since Dave Rice was fired. The Menzies era was just absolutely terrible as far as attendance, and there's a lot of different reasons for that, which I'm not going to go into today. But the attendance just has not been there. It seems like this is a town that only supports winners, and if a team is not winning, if they're not doing extremely well, the fans just do not show up. And listen, I'm not going to criticize fans for that. I'm just saying it's just the way this town works. Where you go into other cities where there's maybe not a lot of things to do, let's be honest. Find me another city where there's more options than Las Vegas. This is this town where your money can go to a lot of different things. And if you don't have a winning franchise, whether that's at the college level or the professional level, it just doesn't seem like people are going to come. And I, in my personal opinion, that is going to be the true test for that franchise. When they stop winning. And I hope they never stop winning. But I'm just saying, when that does happen, that is going to be the true test. How many true hockey fans are out there?
Well, you pose the interesting question, right, is what if they wouldn't have not been as successful in year one? And it's a question that's very viable because you think about it, and it was, I think in year one it still would have been extremely popular and extremely, the interest and the fever would have still been out there because it's the first ever Major League franchise in the city of Las Vegas, okay? So, and you have not just the dynamic of the team being here, but you have all the NHL teams coming to play on the Las Vegas Strip for the first time. So for the first season, I don't think there would have been any difference. I think that the anticipation and the interest and the support would have been just the same. But it would have been different in year two, I think, than it was in year two in reality because they were so successful in that year one. The expectations were high, and the expectations were this is now a legitimate NHL franchise, right? And they are a team that's going to be viable and is going to be of interest for not just the fans of Vegas, but for the NHL. So it didn't really shake out that way, but you do bring out an intriguing question because I don't necessarily think in year two there would have been the massive interest that they had in year two if they were terrible in year one.
JD, you have any thoughts on that? Vegas Golden Knights attendance?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's been crazy the first 2 years. Why would it be any different the third year? The team is fantastic. They brought back a lot of good
under
players.
the circumstances now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's going to be.
And obviously, the greatest thing about this is that this is a desert city, and you have an ice sport, and the first ever professional sport is an ice sport in a desert city.
Yeah.
We weren't saying that, the third year there's going to be anything different. In fact, it's just going to be more popular than ever. The point we were trying to make was what would have happened in year one if the team was not winning and if the team didn't win last year. And I'm not so sure Vegas sports fans
of course,
will support a team that is not a winner.
And to your point, though, Brian, yes, in Vegas, and I've said this many times on the air, we love all things that are the best, right? We like the best comedians. We like the best bands. We like the best entertainers. We like the best teams. Like no disrespect to the minor league teams that are here and that have been here before, right? Whether it's the Las Vegas Wranglers in the ECHL, whether it's the Aviators and the 51s in AAA baseball. But that's not the cream of the crop, okay? It's not the NHL. It's not the NFL. It's not the NBA, okay? These are smaller leagues that aren't the best. And in Vegas, we love the show. We love things that are the best, okay? And the Vegas Golden Knights are in the NHL, which is the best hockey league in the world, okay? And they're one of the best teams in the best hockey league in the world. And so that's why that has been a big proponent for this team and this franchise here in this town.
Yeah, no question. So this season, I think it's going to be really interesting because I think, because there's going to be a little bit of payback, but let's be honest, Andre Fleury is not exactly a young whippersnapper anymore.
No.
He was fantastic
a year
last
older.
year,
Yep.
but he is not getting any younger, and I'm not going to call him fragile. I'm not saying he's Eric Lindros. He hasn't had 30 concussions, but you don't want to see him get hurt. You don't want to see him used too much during the regular season. How much more of greatness are we going to see from Fleury? How many more years does he have left to be playing at such a high level where you could say he's a top 5 goaltender in the league?
Well, you know what's up here, Brian. You're being a Hartford Whalers fan. Goaltenders can still be good when they get up towards 40 and older in their career.
What is he, 35 or 36?
I think he believes 36. I think he is 36. I think he's just turned 36. But the point being is
with a couple of concussions.
We've seen goaltenders be able to play well. As a Red Wings fan, Dominic Hasek was outstanding.
He was great.
He was 38, 39 years old.
I think that the city was starved for professional sports that wasn't, MLS or something like that. And whether the nights were good or not, there was going to be support for the team. And I think that the October 1 shooting really made that support even more aggressive than it would have been otherwise.
I don't think there's any question about that. Well, we got another show wrapped in the books, folks. Chris, thank you so much for joining us, as he always does every Monday. We had a good time.
Times as always.
Appreciate that. Good luck with your Red Wings, and take that Red Wings shirt to the bank. Tomorrow on the show, like I said, we're going to have a fun time. The Hollywood Conservative will be joining us, Mr. X, and plenty more in store for you tomorrow. What will Donald Trump say next? Have a great night, everybody. Sean Hannity coming up next. Thanks for listening to the Vegas Take.